Well, today is 100 days since those horrendous Hamas terrorist attacks on Israel, and during those attacks there was a music festival, the Nova Music Festival, and many people were incredibly badly injured, were killed, murdered by Hamas terrorists. There were women who were raped. It is a horrendous stain on what has happened in the Middle East. It is just an absolutely appalling series of events. It is 100 days today since then. There are lots of questions, of course, about how Israel has responded, whether they've done the right thing. There are many innocent civilians, both on the Israeli side and, of course, on the Palestinian side, who've lost their lives. Today, to remember the hostages that were taken by Hamas terrorists, hundreds of cyclists in central London have been joining tens of thousands of other cyclists all over the world, including the Tour de France winner, who won the Tour de France 4 times, Chris Froome, in a cycle ride to raise awareness of those hostages and to just keep them in our thoughts, especially 100 days on from those Hamas terrorist attacks. It's called the hashtag Ride to Bring Them Home Now, and the mass kidnappings obviously happened 100 days ago. London, Paris, Barcelona, Melbourne, Los Angeles, New York and elsewhere, they will tie yellow ribbons to bikes calling for the release of all those hostages. Now, joining the cycle in London is Michael Marlowe. His son, Jake Marlowe, was 26 years old, a British-Israeli musician who was murdered at the Nova Festival on the 7th of October. Michael joins me now. Michael, thank you very much indeed for joining me. I know there are all sorts of things happening behind you in terms of the cycle and organisation and so on. Tell me your thoughts today, 100 days on from that horrendous terrorist attack by Hamas terrorists.
There are no words, of course. What we've witnessed today has been exceptional. There's been 400 to 500 peaceful riders, no aggravation, nothing at all, just quietly just urging the world to just do something. The United Nations, the Red Cross, just do something. It's just, I mean, we've lost my son, but there are hostages here. This chap here, Shlomi, he's been missing for 100 days, 100 days, and nobody, bar the Israelis, seems to be doing very much about it. So a call to the world, just do something, rescue them.
Shlomi is the person you were referencing, the top that you're wearing.
Correct, sir. So my son made what's called Aliyah to Israel 2 years ago. He was taken in by this wonderful family. And Jake, my son, Shlomi's cousin Aviv, went down south to do basically unarmed security, and was sadly, Aviv and Jake was sadly murdered on that day. Shlomi was taken as a hostage. We're in constant contact with their family. We pray for them every day, and we just want them back. As I said in my speech here, the hostages to Israel are just everything. So we just need help to get them back.
In an ideal world, what would the international community do?
Again, I really have no sensible words. I mean, people shouting Free Palestine. It should be Free Palestine from Hamas, not from Israel. It should be, well, that's the logo they should be using, Free Palestine from Hamas. If you compare Palestine to Israel in all those years, what one has achieved and what one hasn't achieved is chalk and cheese. And there it is, sir.
And in terms of the hostages themselves, what do you think the international community should do?
Rescue them. United Nations should do
stage an operation, go in, rescue them?
Just go, give them medical assistance, anything. We don't know where they are. There is young people there, old people there. Don't know where they are, how they're being fed, if they're being fed, if they're being tortured. We do not know.
So Jake was a British-Israeli musician, of course, and
Jake was a British-Israeli musician that made Aliyah 2 years ago, and he was living his dreams. And those dreams were taken from him, taken from us in that one horrendous, heinous day.
What happened to him? Tell me how much you know about what happened on that day, because I don't want to upset you, but I also want people to know what actually happened that day, because there's a lot that people don't know.
He called my wife Lisa. I think it was about 4:30 our time in the morning. Say he was there, and there was lots of IDF there, Israeli Defence Force, lots of police there. He said to my wife he loved her, and he loved me as well, and that was it. That was the last we heard of Jake. I went out to Israel on the Wednesday to search, on the Tuesday, sorry, to search for him. Sadly, I identified him on the Wednesday, and that is something I will never, ever forget. Identifying one's son and telling one's wife that their son was murdered will live with me for the rest of my life.
What were those 4 days of confusion and desperation like?
It was utter confusion. Israel was at war. How it happened, nobody knows. That will be for another day. At the moment, Israel is together to try and win the fight. Good over evil.
Yeah. I mean, Michael, we're talking about Jake, of course, today because he died, but I want to remember him as someone who lived.
He was murdered. He didn't die. No, it's a big
of course, sorry, he was murdered.
He was murdered.
No, totally. That's exactly the right.
He was shot 9 times.
My goodness. I just want to remember him as he lived as well. Yep. What was he like? Tell me about his passions. Tell me about how he was the most amazing young man. He just lived life to the full. He had his life ahead of him. We were looking forward to him being married, to be grandchildren, to be grandparents, etc., and to watch our son make it in his world. That was ripped away from us, and we are, of course, crestfallen and shattered. What can people who are not Jewish, who don't have perhaps any connection to Israel, but who want to stand with you, who want to support you and your family and others like you, as well as those families of people who...
We have had amazing support from the Israeli embassy, the Israeli consulate. They have been absolutely wondrous. The Jewish people, the Israeli people, and also the non-Jewish people, because it's such a youngster losing his life, and people cannot imagine the heartbreak.
When you see what is happening in the whole region at the moment, when you see those innocent Palestinian civilians who have been killed, there are of course Hamas terrorists who I will shed no tears for, who have been killed, and there are people in Israel suffering every day. When you see the real problems that there are in Israel, what are your emotions and thoughts when you watch the news and hear from friends and family what's been happening?
We were in Israel New Year. We went down to the actual desert site to see it. It's just, again, I keep saying those words. There are no words. All we want is our hostages to be returned and peace in the area, to live peacefully together.
Are you optimistic that will happen?
Optimistic or pessimistic? I am hopeful, but we have to get rid of Hamas first.
How much?
They are evil, evil creatures.
How much does it mean to you that you have someone like Chris Froome who is backing your cause and helping you today, not just in London, but in all those cities, Paris, Barcelona, Melbourne, Los Angeles?
It just shows everything. It's wonderful. There are no other words. It's terrific.
Yeah.
But I mean, what we should be doing as a country is to find out what the United Nations are doing and the Red Cross. Why aren't they doing their job, or defund them? It's just and this farce in The Hague. I mean, what a waste of time, what a waste of money. We all know the result anyway, but there we go.
And the South African government wasting time, you think?
Correct. We know what they are anyway. So it just makes no sense. But it's cold, sir. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we'll let you go, but listen, Michael, thank you very much indeed. I hope you get warm. That is Michael Marlowe there. He's the father of Jake Marlowe, the Israeli-British musician who was murdered at the Nova Festival by Hamas terrorists. Absolutely horrendous. Lots of reaction to that.